The rain tapped gently against the window of the large house on Maple Street. Inside, 7-year-old Emma sat curled up on her small bed, tears rolling down her cheeks like tiny rivers. She held her stuffed rabbit, Snowball, close to her chest. The white rabbit had been a gift from her real mother before she died 2 years ago. Emma's mother had whispered to her on that last day, "Whenever you feel alone, hug Snowball and remember that I love you forever." Now, as Emma lay trembling on the bed, those words felt like the only warmth left in her cold world. Emma's stepmother, Patricia, had married her father just 6 months after her mother's death. Patricia was a tall woman with sharp green eyes and black hair that she always kept perfect. She wore expensive dresses and high heels that clicked loudly on the marble floors of their big house. Patricia had seemed nice when she first came to live with them, bringing gifts and smiling sweetly at Emma. But as soon as Emma's father, businessman Robert Morrison, started traveling more for work, Patricia's true nature came out like a storm cloud blocking the sun. The house that once felt warm and full of laughter became cold and scary. That evening, Emma had accidentally spilled grape juice on the white tablecloth during dinner. It was just a small purple stain, but Patricia's face had turned red with anger. "You clumsy little brat." Patricia had screamed, her voice echoing through the dining room. "Can't you do anything right? Your mother should have taught you better manners before she died." Those cruel words cut through Emma's heart like sharp knives. The 7-year-old had run to her room, crying so hard she could barely breathe. Now she lay on her bed, her small body shaking with fear and sadness. She pressed Snowball against her face and whispered, "Please don't scold me anymore. I promise I'll be good." The sound of high heels clicking on the stairs made Emma's heart pound like a drum. Patricia was coming upstairs, and Emma knew she was still angry. The bedroom door swung open with a loud bang, and Patricia stood there like a dark shadow. Her green eyes were cold and mean, and her red lipstick made her look scary in the dim light. "Stop that crying right now," Patricia demanded, her voice sharp and harsh. "You're nothing but trouble, just like your mother was. She was weak, and so are you." Emma curled up smaller, hugging Snowball tighter. Her voice was tiny and broken when she spoke. "Please, Patricia, please don't scold me anymore. I didn't mean to spill the juice. I was just trying to reach for the bread." Patricia stepped closer, her shadow falling over the small girl like a dark cloud. "Don't make excuses. You're 7 years old, not a baby. And stop calling me Patricia. I'm your stepmother now, whether you like it or not." Emma's tears fell faster, soaking into Snowball's soft white fur. She looked up at Patricia with big, sad eyes full of pain and confusion. "I miss my real mommy," Emma whispered, her voice breaking. "She never yelled at me like you do. She used to sing me to sleep and make me feel safe." This made Patricia even angrier. She couldn't stand hearing about Emma's real mother, the woman Robert had loved so deeply that he still kept her picture on his desk at work. Patricia had always been jealous of Robert's first wife, even though she was gone. She saw Emma as a living reminder of the love Robert had shared with another woman. In her twisted mind, Emma was competition for Robert's attention and love. Patricia had grown up poor and had always dreamed of marrying a rich man like Robert. Now that she had her chance at a wealthy life, she wouldn't let anyone or anything get in her way, not even an innocent 7-year-old child. "Your mother is gone and never coming back," Patricia said cruelly. "I'm your family now, and you better start acting grateful. Do you know how lucky you are to live in this big house and have nice clothes and food? Many children have nothing." Emma's small hands trembled as she held Snowball close. She looked at Patricia with eyes full of hurt and confusion. "But I am grateful," she whispered. "I just want you to be nice to me like Daddy is. I want us to be a happy family." Her innocent words only made Patricia more angry. The woman's face twisted with jealousy and rage. She couldn't stand seeing Emma's pure heart and gentle spirit. It reminded her too much of the goodness she had lost somewhere along her own difficult path in life. Patricia had been treated badly by her own stepmother when she was young, and now she was repeating the same cruel cycle without even realizing it. Just then, they heard the sound of a car pulling into the driveway. Car doors slammed, and footsteps could be heard on the front porch. Emma's heart jumped with hope. Maybe it was her father coming home early from his business trip. Robert Morrison was supposed to be away for another 3 days, but sometimes he finished his work faster than expected. He was a kind man who loved Emma very much, but his demanding job as a technology company owner kept him away from home too often. He didn't know what was happening to his precious daughter when he was gone, because Patricia was very good at acting sweet and caring whenever he was around. Patricia's face went pale when she heard the front door opening. She quickly stepped away from Emma's bed and tried to smooth down her hair and fix her angry expression. "Robert, is that you?" she called out in a fake sweet voice that sounded nothing like the harsh tone she had been using with Emma. Heavy footsteps could be heard coming up the stairs, and then Robert's deep voice called back, "Yes, I'm home. Where's my little princess? I brought her a surprise." Emma's face lit up with joy and relief. Her daddy was home. She wiped her tears quickly and tried to stop crying, but her red eyes and shaking body showed how upset she'd been. Robert Morrison appeared in the doorway, a tall man with kind brown eyes and graying hair at his temples. He was wearing his expensive business suit, but his face looked tired from traveling. In his hands, he carried a beautiful music box with a dancing ballerina inside, a gift he found her Emma in the city he had just visited. But when he saw his daughter's tear-stained face and trembling body, his smile disappeared immediately. His businessman's instincts, which had made him millions of dollars by reading people and situations, told him something was very wrong. "Emma? Sweetheart, what's wrong? Why are you crying?" His voice was full of concern and love. Emma looked back and forth between her father and Patricia, her small mind torn between wanting to tell the truth and being afraid of making Patricia even more angry. Patricia stepped forward quickly, putting on her best fake smile and speaking in a sugary voice that made Emma's skin crawl. "Oh, Robert, we're so happy you're home early. Emma just had a little accident at dinner. She spilled some juice and got upset about it. You know how sensitive children can be." She tried to laugh lightly, but her eyes were cold and warning Emma to stay quiet. Emma clutched Snowball tighter, her heart pounding as she looked at her father's concerned face. Robert's sharp business mind immediately picked up on the tension in the room. Something about Patricia's overly sweet voice and Emma's frightened expression didn't feel right to him. He had built a successful company by trusting his gut instincts, and right now, every instinct was telling him that his daughter was in trouble. He walked over to Emma's bed and sat down gently beside her, his large hand reaching out to brush her soft brown hair away from her face. "Princess, can you tell Daddy what really happened? I can see you're very upset, and I want to help you feel better." His voice was warm and safe, like a cozy blanket on a cold night. Emma's lower lip trembled as she looked into her father's kind eyes. She wanted so badly to tell him everything, about how Patricia yelled at her every day, called her mean names, and made her feel scared and unwanted in her own home. But she could feel Patricia's cold stare burning into her back like ice. What if her father didn't believe her? What if Patricia got even meaner after he left for work again? I just spilled juice, Daddy," Emma whispered, her voice so quiet it was almost impossible to hear. Mommy Patricia, she got upset because I made a mess." The way she said Mommy Patricia sounded forced and scared, not natural and loving like it should have been. Robert's heart clenched when he heard the fear in his daughter's voice. He had not heard Emma call Patricia Mommy before, and something about the way she said it felt wrong, like words someone had forced her to say. His protective father instincts, which were stronger than any business deal he'd ever made, started to rise up inside him like a powerful wave. He stood up slowly and turned to face Patricia, his brown eyes now hard and serious. "Patricia, I need to speak with you downstairs. Now." His voice was calm but firm, the same tone he used in boardroom meetings when he meant business. Patricia's fake smile flickered like a candle in the wind, but she nodded and followed him out of the room. As soon as they were gone, Emma buried her face in Snowball's soft fur and let out all the tears she'd been holding back. She had wanted so badly to tell her father the truth, but fear had frozen the words in her throat. What if Patricia was right? What if she really was just a burden and a problem? Her 7-year-old mind couldn't understand why someone who was supposed to love her could be so mean and scary. Downstairs, She could hear her father and Patricia talking in low, serious voices. Sometimes their voices got louder, and Emma's heart pounded with worry. She pressed Snowball against her ear, tried to block out the scary sounds, and whispered the words her real mother used to say to her. Everything will be okay, my little angel. Love always wins in the end. In the living room below, Robert Morrison stood face to face with his wife, his successful businessman's mask completely gone. What remained was a father who sensed his child was in danger, and that awakened something fierce and protective inside him that no amount of money or business success could match. Patricia, I want you to tell me the truth about what's been happening in this house while I've been away. And don't lie to me. I've made millions of dollars by being able to tell when people aren't being honest. His voice was steady, but filled with warning, like thunder before a storm. Patricia shifted uncomfortably, her perfect mask starting to crack, as she realized that her wealthy husband was much smarter and more observant than she had given him credit for. Patricia tried to keep her sweet, innocent act going, but under Robert's intense stare, she began to crumble like a house of cards. Robert, darling, I don't know what you think is wrong. Emma is just difficult sometimes. She misses her mother and takes it out on me. I've been trying so hard to be good to her, but she doesn't seem to want to accept me as her new mother. Her words sounded reasonable on the surface, but Robert's trained ear caught the slight edge of annoyance and cruelty that leaked through her fake sweetness. He had heard that same tone in business meetings when people were trying to cheat him or hide something important from him. Robert walked to his desk and pulled out his laptop computer. His face was serious as he opened it and clicked on several files. Patricia, I need to show you something. When I started traveling more for work, I became worried about leaving Emma alone so much. So I had security cameras installed throughout the house. Cameras that record everything and send the files directly to my computer. Patricia's face went white as snow. She had no idea that her cruel treatment of Emma had been recorded. Robert turned the laptop screen toward her, and she saw herself from just an hour ago, standing over Emma's bed. Her face twisted with anger as she screamed at the terrified child. Her own voice came through the speakers. You're nothing but trouble, just like your mother was. She was weak, and so are you. The color drained from Patricia's face as she watched herself being cruel to an innocent 7-year-old child. She saw how small and frightened Emma looked, curled up on the bed with her stuffed rabbit, begging not to be scolded anymore. She heard her own voice saying terrible things about Emma's dead mother, words that no child should ever have to hear. For the first time since she had married Robert, Patricia was seeing herself clearly, not as the loving stepmother she pretended to be, but as the cruel, jealous woman she had become. The sight made her stomach feel sick, but it was too late to take back all the hurt she had caused. Robert closed the laptop with a sharp snap. When he looked at Patricia again, his eyes were filled with a mixture of anger, disappointment, and deep sadness. I trusted you with the most precious thing in my life, my daughter. Emma lost her mother when she was only 5 years old. She needed love, patience, and kindness to help her heal from that terrible loss. Instead, you gave her more pain and fear. His voice was heavy with emotion. How could you be so cruel to a child who did nothing wrong except exist? How could you say such horrible things about her mother, a woman who never hurt anyone and died far too young? Patricia opened her mouth to try to make excuses, but Robert held up his hand to stop her. I've seen and heard enough, Robert continued, his voice growing stronger. Pack your things tonight. I want you out of this house by morning. My lawyer will contact you about divorce papers. Patricia's eyes filled with tears, not tears of sadness for hurting Emma, but tears of fear for losing her comfortable, wealthy lifestyle. Robert, please. I can change. I was just stressed and didn't know how to handle being a stepmother. Give me another chance. But Robert shook his head firmly. There are no second chances when it comes to hurting my child. Emma has been through enough pain to last a lifetime. I won't let anyone, not even my wife, add to that pain. His words were final, and Patricia knew that all her dreams of wealth and status were crumbling around her like a castle made of sand. While her father handled Patricia downstairs, Emma lay on her bed, holding Snowball close to her heart. She could still hear voices from below, but they were getting quieter now. Her bedroom door opened gently, and her father appeared, looking tired but relieved. He sat down on her bed and pulled her into a warm, safe hug that felt like sunshine after a long storm. "I'm so sorry, Princess," he whispered into her hair. "I should have known what was happening. I should have protected you better." Emma looked up at him with her big brown eyes, so much like his own. "Are you mad at me, Daddy?" she asked in a small voice. "Did I do something wrong?" Robert's heart broke at her innocent question. "No, sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong at all. Sometimes adults make bad choices that hurt children, but that's never the child's fault." He held her closer, feeling her small body finally start to relax in his arms. "Patricia won't be living with us anymore. She's going to leave tomorrow, and it will be just you and me from now on. Would you like that?" Emma nodded against his chest, feeling safer than she had in months. "Will you have to travel for work so much, Daddy?" she asked hopefully. Robert smiled and kissed the top of her head. "I'm going to make some changes to my business, so I could be home with you much more. You're more important than any job or any amount of money in the world." The next morning, Patricia packed her expensive clothes and jewelry into suitcases. Her dreams of being a wealthy man's wife shattered forever. As she loaded her car, she caught a glimpse of Emma and Robert through the kitchen window. They were making pancakes together, flour dusting both their faces as they laughed at some silly joke. Emma looked happy and carefree, the way a 7-year-old child should look. For just a moment, Patricia felt a stab of regret for what she had done. She could have been part of that happy scene if she had chosen love over jealousy, kindness over cruelty. But it was too late now. She drove away from the big house on Maple Street, leaving behind the family she had destroyed with her own bitter heart. In the months that followed, Robert kept his promise to spend more time at home with Emma. He hired trustworthy people to help run his business while he focused on being the father Emma needed. They went on weekend adventures, had movie nights with popcorn and hot chocolate, and Robert even learned to braid Emma's hair for school. Emma slowly began to heal from the trauma Patricia had caused. She laughed more, played with friends, and started to trust that she was truly safe and loved. The house on Maple Street filled with warmth and joy again, the way it had been when Emma's mother was alive. One evening, as Robert tucked him into bed, she held up Snowball and smiled. "Daddy, I think Mommy in heaven is happy that you came home to save me from the scary lady." Robert's eyes filled with tears of love and gratitude. "I think you're right, Princess. And I promise you this, no one will ever make you cry like that again. You are my greatest treasure, worth more than all the money in the world." Emma hugged her stuffed rabbit close and drifted off to sleep, finally feeling safe and loved in her own home. The little girl who had once begged her stepmother, "Please don't scold me anymore," would never have to beg for kindness again. Her millionaire father had come home just in time to save her, proving that sometimes the greatest wealth in the world is simply a parent's love for their child. The story of Emma and her father reminds us that money and status mean nothing if we use them to hurt innocent people. True richness comes from love, kindness, and protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Emma's courage to survive Patricia's cruelty and Robert's wisdom to recognize and stop it shows us that good people will always find a way to overcome darkness. In the end, love really does win, just like Emma's mother had promised it would.